like 1 minute. Thank you for your screens on. Glad to see you all here. Please feel free to type your interests in the chat so we all know each other. I think that I will start, and I will start with thank you words for all people who helped to create this event. Actually, it was not really easy to gather all the speakers because we're all from different projects and time zones and located in different cities. So I want to say that I am really grateful for Erika and Ellie, who runs events in Solana's foundation. They helped me to invite Rish. He will join us in 1 hour. He is the head of Solana AI. Also, I am really grateful for all super teams. I will tell more about super teams later in my speech. So SuperTeam India, SuperTeam Kazakhstan, SuperTeam UK, France, Germany, all of them supported us with promotion, and this event will be impossible without them. And it is not the first event that I promote using SuperTeam channels. I already made a hackathon. So it's really cool to communicate with all these guys. They're really supportive, and the whole Solana ecosystem is like that. So thank you guys for helping me in the promotion of this event. I hope to make more great projects with you. Some of the super teams will join us today also here on this meetup. And I think that we can start with AiSOL, Anton. This is a project that is the reason of this meetup. I work with them. I help them to promote their products and to create some more steps in Solana ecosystem. We met with Igor, the co-founder of AiSOL in Cyprus 2 years ago, maybe 3 already years ago. This team building a lot of great things, and I think that they will share right now what they do. Yes, thank you.
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Daria, thank you for the brief introduction. Can you please confirm that you can hear me and you can see my presentation now?
Yes, everything is okay.
Cool. Yeah, all right. So I will start. So, yes, I'm Anton Verigin, core contributor at AiSOL and COO at AI Nodes. Also, I'm a member of Solana SuperTeam Kazakhstan, and today I will show you how we make Solana the first place where AI can actually execute finance safely and at scale. I will start with who we are, why we choose Solana, what exactly we are building for AI on Solana, and I will share you our vision on it. Okay. So AI Nodes is our validator and infra business. We run 25 plus nodes across 15 plus chains, including Solana. We are part of the Circular Alliance with over 10 million USD assets under management and ship real products, a node marketplace and paid RPC query service. AiSOL is our AI execution layer built inside Solana. We operate production infra every day, and we are using that competence to connect AI to on-chain finance. Sorry, can you hear me, guys? Because I see my screen share stopped recording.
Everything is okay. I can hear you and I can see your presentation. Please proceed.
Okay. So when we dived into Solana, we saw two realistic roads. First is to build decentralized multi-party compute with zero-knowledge execution. New initiatives like Alpenglow and Double Zero point in that direction, but it requires heavy GPU infra, big R&D budgets, and even bigger user acquisition. The second one is to adopt existing LLMs like ChatGPT and Grok to act on-chain through a standard. Instead of investing in new market for AI transactions, we take existing on-chain actions and make them safely controllable from tools people already use. After reading Anatoly's AI vision and talking to builders at CIS Dubai 2025, we picked the second path, the road that taps a ready base of roughly 1.5 billion LLM users. The fastest way to mass adoption is to meet users where they already are, in chat interface. Before I move on to our architecture layers, here is how the idea works in 2 minutes. Existing apps wrap their APIs using our AiSOL MCP SDK, a standardized description of tools and parameters. They connect to our hub. Each app brings its own functions inside the hub. These functions can be combined. Apps can call other apps where it makes sense. The user doesn't jump between wallets, DEX, and bridges. All goes within one chat. AI-made chat interface translates the request into a road, shows steps, cost, and time, and the user signs with their own wallet. Now, the layers that make this reliable, it's curated validators and infra for latency and reliability, MCP as the universal interface and auction router to allocate attention fairly, and TE for variability and safety, also referral mechanics for growth, and AI mate as the user entry point. Let's go layer by layer. So AI mate. AI-Mate is the everyday entry point. You type in a natural language. AI-Mate builds the road and shows simple options. Cheapest, fastest, best yield with clear costs. You pick one and sign with your wallet. If you don't have wallet yet, AI-Mate walks you through creation and safe usage. We also keep hotkeys for frequent actions. First, we will ship in familiar messengers. Next, we extend into leading Web2 LLMs. The goal is straightforward. Became the default safe window into Web3 finance with verifiable execution and zero hallucinations in money critical paths. MCP layer. MCP is the model context protocol, a common way to describe what a DApp can do and how to call it. DApps register tools and parameters once. AI-Mate and later other LLMs can call those tools directly. Apps become interoperable by default. No custom glue for every integration pair. AI-Mate turns a user request into structured actions with pre and post conditions so the result is verifiable. Is AiSOL just centralized middleware? No. The hub coordinates requests and routing, but it is not a custodian and it does not replace on-chain logic. Execution stays on-chain. The apps own their contracts and rules. MCP is an open spec that standardizes the call pattern so AI can interact safely. Auction routing layer. When a user asks for an operation, there can be multiple valid routes, different DEX, bridges, staking services. For complex requests, AI-Mate assembles a route and shows it to the user. If there are several good options, applications can bid for priority in that list. At the same time, the router scores routes by final user outcome. total costs, latency, reliability, historical access. So the balance, willingness to pay with actual value for the user. Over time, the best services earn more traffic, not just the highest bidders. This is an AI native and transparent attention market on chain. Curated validator and infra layer. We operate a curated validator and infra pool optimized for AI workloads. Low latency, stable uptime, predictable inclusion, no toxic MEV, of course. Delegation to the pool is done via AiSOL LST. Validators and ecosystem participants who align with our AI vision and use MCP get priority delegation. If you don't use MCP, you can still participate in our pool, but you will be limited to base delegation only. This creates the right incentive, standardize and deliver performance to access more stake and AI traffic. The circular effect is simple. More delegation improves execution, better execution drives more traffic, which attracts more delegation. So we are not only improving UX and increasing transaction volume, we are directly strengthening the network. TE and security layer. We use an integrity trusted execution environment to keep sensitive information isolated and validate critical inputs. It prevents accidental exposure of seed phrases or private keys and blocks unsafe actions that could be caused by model hallucinations. In practice, this means strict pre-flight checks, checksums, whitelists, parameter bounds, before anything touches a wallet. Result, verifiable, safe execution for money and critical flows. Referral and reputation layer. AI Mate is built for retail, so we need real distribution. Referral help, but intents unlock a better model for creators. Imagine, instead of posting long instruction threads for airdrops, a KOL publishes a prompt, their own intent. The LLM executes the steps, and the user just follows the route for calls embedded. So he subscribes here, swap there, bridge if needed, and signs with their own wallet. No airdrop rule breaking, no custody. Our referral rewards are transparent and trackable on chain, with a limited number of tiers for compliance. So why MCP centric over agent centric? Agent centric means custom, fragile, and unverifiable. It doesn't scale. MCP centric means standard, composable, verifiable. You integrate once and become available across AI channels. Economically, we designed a simple flywheel with three revenue streams. MCP transaction fees, a small fee on actions executed through the hub paid by applications. Auction bids, so apps pay to compete through priority and they pay via AiSOL LST. Importantly, the app can stake another LST so that staking rewards cover its bidding costs. That makes effective exposure completely free, while the principal stays untouched. And validator pool service fees. Infra-grade economics that reinforce the validator pool and execution quality. More apps join, more LST delegation, better performance, more users and transactions, then more revenue and more delegation. That's how infra compounds on Solana. We validated the AiSOL idea with the SuperTeam Kazakhstan and received support. The MCP Hub is now in development. The curated staking pool and AI-made base features will be published to our public repo in next days for the Cypherpunk Hackathon. Next milestone, the MCP Hub beta and the auction routing release. TEE integration and the public AiSOL token launch come only after product and revenue are live. So if you are a builder, wrap your app with MCP and plug into the hub. If you run infra, apply to the curated validator pool. If you build community, create intents and onboard the next million users. AI changes finance when it executes verifiable operations on-chain for real users and in real time. Yesterday narrative, everything is Solana, but today's narrative, everything on Solana is AI. Thank you, guys.
Anton, I have some questions for you. First of all, please tell us how Solana ecosystem besides Solana SuperTeam Kazakhstan helps you. I saw a lot of news in your X account about your world tour for different cities and different conferences. Please tell a little bit about it.
Yes, Kazakhstan Super Team invited me to join their don't really remember how it was called. Kazakhstan Astana Digital 2025, I guess. There was some representatives from Solana ecosystem. Lily was there. I was talking with her, and I validated the idea of AiSOL with just her through a few words. I can tell you, she gave me some insightful speech about our idea and gave us some advices how to build it properly, so that would be interested both for ecosystem, for our users, and for the investors. So yes, we are grantees of Super Team Kazakhstan, and I want to say thank you for the guys from Super Team. That partially because of them, our project AiSol makes it's been possible to make.
Cool. Actually, I also saw you in Korea and also in Singapore last month, I think. And also the super teams from there are really helpful and supportive, as I know, for the project.
Our other core contributor, Igor Kachura, he is part of Solana Super Team Korea, as I know, and yeah, they invited him to join their meetup. So yes, if anyone is here from Solana Super Team Korea, I send hello to you guys.
Yeah, so it's really important to talk to other members of Solana ecosystem, and as I know, they are already helped a lot projects, and they help everyone who ask actually. For me, for example, when I was looking for a venue to provide a meetup during Token 2049, it was really expensive to create something out there. Super Team Singapore also helped me, and the AI Soul team connected us actually. So Solana, we have friends inside the Solana ecosystem who help each other.
Super Teams, it's a really great initiative from Solana Foundation. They did a
Yes.
great job to support the whole ecosystem in that way.
Can you also tell a little bit about Colosseum last year, as I know you participated?
We participated, but we actually never win because um, uh, we had a strange situation because we were in the shadow ban because we mentioned the wrong repository, and only at last day of the hackathon it was solved out. But I guess judges didn't see our project, so let's see what will happen in this hackathon. I think we will represent the AI made chat interface, and perhaps we will win some mention from the hackathon.
Guys, if you have any questions for Anton, please raise your hand. If you have something interesting to add about the topic, you also can add. It is a free space with free speech. And Yaroslav, please help us with the navigation in Zoom. Yes, I see Alexa raising hand.
Hello. I'm actually running a small validator, so I wonder which requirements do you have for validators that are not run toxic MEV? Like, is there anything that the validators can do to make the life of AI applications easier? Like, I don't know, maybe help you with transaction lending or something along those lines. Thank you.
May I ask you, do you have your own running product mm, over your validator? I mean, some DEX maybe or swap interface, or it's just a validator? Just validator. You can apply. The requirements will be published, I think, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But the requirements are simple. No toxic MEV, of course, and you have to perform well. So now you have to be at the top 250 of the whole validator set list. The concrete, the exact, sorry, parameters we will publish on the documents, and you will see if you can apply or not. But I think for base delegation, you just need to share our vision on AI, and that would be it.
Yes, we have other questions. Thank you, Alex. Sun Wallet.
Hello. Well, I'm new to Solana because I started my career in blockchain on Ton and in Telegram. So now I'm interested in AI and I'm integrating AI to all my product line and to all my developments. And of course, the main question for me now is whether to deploy my own model or whether to integrate and how to say be inspired by such cases as Perplexity that just use ready-made models and integrate them all in one, providing some new user interface and user experience. So for me, that's just interesting. What approach do you prefer on Solana network? So, how do you see the future of the apps? Whether they try to make their own specific AIs or they use already made models with some custom data sets and some forms and ways to collect more data from users, or that would be I don't know, some all-in-one integrated solutions. Thank you very much. Very interesting speech, and I was glad to hear a little more about Solana as well.
Thank you for your question. Yes, I think all-in-one that suits the best for the users. You are from the Ton ecosystem, and you know which is the greatest advantage of the whole Ton ecosystem. It's Telegram users who can be onboarded just in single taps. And that is something similar we want to build on Solana. There should be no restrictions to use any of existing LLMs. You should be able to connect any existing LLM over the MCP, as it is the universal standard now. And my vision is everyone should go in that direction, and the exact LLM choose should be completely permissionless. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would like to say.
Yeah, thank you. Stanislav, please join our conversation.
Thank you, and then I have a couple of questions. You mentioned that there is this combination of MPC, ZK, and GPU, which is quite complex and expensive. And I'm very close with the SuperTeam Germany and Balkans, and in Germany there is Yannick who is building Arcium. Did you try his product? Maybe you can use their primitives which they already built just for your product and don't reinvent the wheel.
Actually, I haven't tried it, but if you can send me the
Sure.
link, and perhaps you can make an intro to him, to this founder.
With great pleasure. Yeah, yeah. And the
I
second
will-
one, just a similar one. Did you, for verifiable AI, did you research what Eigen does for their products? Because they also do this, but they are in the Ethereum ecosystem, not in the Solana one.
They are in the Ethereum ecosystem. They are doing something not pretty similar to us, because as they use only one road within one application, and we are trying to build the system which uses the multiple roads within a few applications at once, especially for some complicated transactions. The guys who are building something similar to us, I guess it is MCP and other few projects which I can also share you after this meetup. I just don't remember them all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Nick, you're the next one.
Wait, sorry, Daria. I have to hop at 12:45. I don't know if it's
Oh,
okay.
yes, thank you, Rish. Thank you very much. So we will have more time for questions in the end of the meetup. So the Rish is with us. Rish is from Solana Foundation. It is really cool to have you on this meetup. Let's proceed with your talk.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. Here, let me grab my slides here. I'll make this pretty quick, and then happy to leave most time for questions at the end. So just today, gonna talk a bit at a high level about kind of some of the work that the Solana Foundation is doing in the AI space and kind of like how we're seeing the landscape of what's going on so far. And yeah, like what the interesting areas and products to work on that we see are in some sense. Okay. Uh, okay. You guys, I think, can see my screen.
Yes, everything is okay.
Yeah, okay, great. Uh so um oh sorry, this is wrong presentation here. Let me just get the right one up. Copy. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Um Yeah, so again, we'll be pretty brief and high level, happy to answer any questions after. But yeah, just I guess like a bit of a summary of kind of like what we're going to cover today. So first is just kind of covering what we've seen so far in terms of like what the market map looks like in the world of Solana and AI. And yeah, what are the exciting initiatives and things on the horizon that we ultimately see coming forward. I will also say at a high level, like I think how like many folks at the Solana Foundation think and believe, and which has really been true, is the best innovations have always been driven out of the ecosystem and never the foundation. And the foundation itself has never, has built like products and like tools for specific things. But if we think about the best stuff that consistently comes out, it's always like from the ecosystem team. So like I mean, very exciting to see like you all building in some capacity in the AI space in Solana, and yeah, actively support any work that anyone might be doing here. So I guess a brief recap on kind of the history of crypto and AI. In the early 2020s, you saw a handful of early infrastructure teams, mostly L1s. Transformers were like the scaling paradigm was taking off. You had already seen like pretty impressive performance with things like GPT-2, GPT-3. I think Stable Diffusion in the summer of August 2022 really kicked off the revolution of what people thought was possible with generative AI. And then obviously, in December of that year, ChatGPT came out. It was a huge paradigm shift in what was going on in technology. There were a handful of teams that were building in the kind of AI and crypto space prior to that. Some notable projects are obviously BitTensor, Near, NumeraI, Jensen, Fetch. Like mostly L1s, but not much application focus. Some focus around kind of like compute marketplaces and stuff like that. But like I'd say it was very early. Starting in 2024 to like kind of Q1, Q2 of or really Q1 of 2025. So there was like almost like a 12 to 18 month period where AI is a predominant technology outside of blockchains and crypto. And you kind of see this convergence between like AI agents and meme coin cycles come together. And there was this huge amount of interest in people who were experimenting with different use cases, whether it was kind of like the GOAT Twitter account that was doing like backrooms where, like you had an LLM connected to Twitter accounts and like you had Twitter personas. Obviously, the Eliza team, I think, was like probably the biggest project to kind of like come up during the space, like built within Solana ecosystem. I think Shaw's here. Um, there was a lot of early experimentation. There was a lot of interest. There was a lot of excitement. But I think like, fundamental questions of like, what really are these agents? Like, what are they useful for? Like those like were not really being considered. I think like it was demonstrated interest in the technology, but like I would say it's like conservative to say like there wasn't much PMF in terms of products that came out of that period. And right now, I think we're in a space where very early primitives are being built, like especially in the agentic payment space. You have like suddenly a bunch of corporate interest from folks like Cloudflare, Visa, MasterCard, Google, who are working on specs with agents and stablecoins as kind of like, the ability of tool calling and like external servers like MCPs and 8As basically develop. And people are exploring new systems for how you might be able to facilitate these payments. And one of the ways to do this, obviously, would be with stablecoins. And something we've been thinking about quite a bit is like how do we make stablecoin performance on Solana? For payments, that's been a focus for the past 12 months. Like working with fintechs, payment companies, how do we make it cheap? How do we make liquidity global and easily accessible? Like now it's like, okay, what are the products that are relevant to, like make wrapping APIs with X402 if that's a system people are using, very easy to do. Self-funding wallets like should be very easy to do for developers to be able to pay for services. These are the things that we're thinking about. So just like a recap of some high-level statistics. Um, there's like close to a $30 billion market cap of AI tokens within crypto, which I mean like seems large, but like in the broader context of AI, like still there's almost 500 AI startup unicorns that collectively are worth over like close to $3 trillion. It's probably more. It's not even public companies as well. And in the world of AI, over $100 billion have been raised across like startups. I think like every week you see a new 30, 40, $50 million seed raise. In crypto, that number is about 7 billion, and in crypto and AI, it's a even smaller superset. 500 million is kind of an estimate of that. So there's a lot of growth potential. It's very early. Like crypto and AI is just a thumb of kind of like what's going on in broader AI. But I think it speaks to kind of like the opportunity that sits at hand. So like the relevant areas that we see kind of like really taking off here, one is kind of like in the agentic payment space, which I had mentioned. So it's like how do we support low cost instant settlement for agentic economies? So there are frameworks like Coinbase's X402 that has been built for this. Cloudflare has their pay per crawl implementation. They're working with 402 on top of. There are teams like Crossman and ATXP that are building the first principles products like around this. I'm sure as a lot of you guys saw, like last week, like 402 absolutely kind of like blew up as a narrative within crypto, like over the weekend as well. Like hosted our first like meetup around the event, last week. To be totally clear, all the activity right now is like 100% meme coins. So people very much speculating on the trend of the technology. Although like I'd say like longer term, I'd say like the utility of like a system in which like people are able to pay for microservices using stablecoins like very easily through like a wallet has like some fundamental utility, and that's why like I think like people are excited about it. So yeah, that's one piece of this. I think another piece of this is the on-chain compute markets. So there have been a number of teams that have done this, like crowdsourcing and marketplaces for on-chain GPUs. Aether, Render, Akash, like IONET, a bunch of them. I think like there are some teams who are working on pretty interesting stuff at the forefront of like how can you distribute these workloads to kind of like potentially fine-tune models or train models as well. Still very early. Think like, there's obviously like notable projects that have done this, but in terms of kind of like revenues and production, it's there's more to come. Third category, this is something I'm pretty excited about. I think the last presentation covered this a bit. This idea of like what do AI native crypto UX look like LLM embedded wallets, trading environments, consumer interfaces. Honestly, I think like agents demonstrated like some amount of interest for people using these kind of products like earlier this year. And like I think like basically there's going to be an opportunity at hand where there's a new set for these kind of things to come. And so like what does that look like? So, there are teams that are reimagining like a whole new like wallet interface, like using like AI like at the forefront of it. Teams like Phantom are working on like developing features and systems that make their wallet like very consumer friendly to use like with an LLM embedded at the heart of it. Just broadly speaking, I think like the next great consumer product in crypto is going to like use AI in a critical capacity. Like the unlock that Phantom did for meme coins, arguably like last year, some team is going to do in the sense of like, totally reshaping the way that people will interact with on-chain systems. Open source, I think, is another interesting opportunity. There's like obviously teams like Noose and Prime Intellect and Bagel that are working on various components of the open source stack from kind of pre-training work to post-training RL. These teams kind of like vaguely have crypto on their roadmap. It's been hard to like the traditional model in AI has been like like come from like a notable research background. You raise a lot of capital. You use that initial capital to fund open source work. And then that open source work like builds a developer community and like eyeballs, and then you raise more capital to build a like B2B enterprise product. That's the direction that like most open source AI labs have kind of gone because like there are like external forces of like constraints of capitalism against them. I think crypto could be an interesting way to like remunerate multiple contributors and potentially create a more sustainable economic model for this. Again, I think it's very early, but like there are teams that are working on this both inside and outside the Solana ecosystem. Fifth, I think, is like data markets. So we've seen this with like teams like Grass and Vana that are already public, and other teams like Pearl and Sapiens that I still think are pre-TEGE. AI data labeling is like one of the biggest markets right now in AI more broadly, and like there's reasons to believe why like teams could potentially do this like at a more efficient scale. Not using kind of like the centralized model that has been very popularized by the likes of Scale and Recor and Surge. Although like there are challenges building that market. And then yeah, frontier category, we're seeing things that are going on in like robotics and quantum and stuff like that. It's all exciting, but I'd say it's very early. And like the products there are still like kind of mostly in the research stage. So what do we care about? So I'd say like there's high level three initiatives that we really want to help push like Solana ecosystem teams to be able to crack. Again, like the Solana Foundation, very differently in some cases from like other folks at other foundations. Like we're not in the business of believing that we're gonna build the best products ourselves. Like again, like we want to help drive and provide leverage for the ecosystem teams that are working on these things in the most high leverage capacity. First is Solana is a leader for on-chain AI use cases. That would be like kind of within the payments and on-chain compute sense. Um, Second initiative is kind of creating Solana environments for AI products. So like this is something I've been working with kind of like the OpenAI and Anthropic and Gemini teams on basically, how can we improve like code development and tool calling for both agents and like state-of-the-art models, like what GPT-6 will look like or what the next Claude model will look like to basically improve on like Solana related benchmarks. Again, like AI native crypto UX, I think like it'd be like great to kind of like see like some fantastic product like built. Like I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna come. There's gonna be a financialized AI application that really cracks this. Would love to see this happen within the Solana ecosystem. And then, yeah, I mean, just expanding the narrative beyond just like AI and crypto to like, more broadly AI in general. Like I think there are people in San Francisco who have been allergic to crypto for the past 3 years. And I mean, like still like don't love crypto, but are open to the ideas of kind of where it might potentially make sense. And yeah, like our idea is to work with these people like commercially to help, like ecosystem teams like pilot with these guys, like to like have foundation engage more like meaningfully with these sorts of folks. So that's like another initiative that we're really focused on as well. And so, yeah, I mean, our goal here, and what we want to align everyone who's working on AI in the Solana ecosystem is figuring out like how we win here. And it's like cracking this case in payments, creating the largest on-chain AI ecosystem in terms of like projects and founder quality. There's already fantastic founders who are building in the AI stack in the Solana ecosystem, and there's going to be a network effect to that. Like if you're an AI founder coming into space, it needs to be obvious that Solana is the place that you want to build. Bridging the gap with traditional AI, and then finally, yeah, just increasing awareness of Solana and potential applications of the technology outside of where it might exist. So yeah, thanks so much. That's kind of the presentation. Happy to stick around for a few minutes and answer a few quick questions if anyone might have any. But Daria, thanks for putting this together. And yeah, thanks to all the other presenters and everyone who's around.
Thank you, Rish. So I think that we will have some questions. Guys, please raise your hands. Rish, can you please stop sharing the screen? Yes,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
So I have a question. In some ecosystems, other ecosystems like layer ones, there are some special grants for AI projects. Do you plan to set up some special program for AI projects in Solana?
Yeah, I mean the grants program has always existed within Solana. So like if you go to the solana.com website and look up grants, like there is like a open submission area where you can basically apply to grants. What's our approach to grants here? There are many ecosystems that have huge treasuries that really frankly like don't know how to spend them in that like there's not much going on within their ecosystem. And so they'll, like write huge checks for people to build products that aren't going to be used. That's like against our ethos of kind of like efficient capital and how we believe in kind of supporting the right projects in Solana. So the grants program exists. How we like to do it is we try to tie it towards milestones and outcomes of kind of like, number of users, number of wallets, like to make sure that we're actively funding and spending Solana ecosystem dollars in efficient ways. And so, yeah, I'd say like the best approach for applying to grants, reach out to me, and we can chat about your project. And yeah, I mean, the idea of grants is not to be runway for projects infinitely. I think the largest outcomes in the Solana ecosystem space have like made grants look like a penny in the bucket, right? Like if you look at market cap of tokens that exist within Solana, that's where the real opportunity lies. Even like there have been a number of teams that I've been working with on kind of like developing X402 on Solana. These teams have been working with me for months. We gave them very small grants. Like nominally, like maybe covered like 2 weeks of burn. But like the partnership is what matters. And like today, like I think like these teams are like, sitting at a much more comfortable place after there's obviously the amount of interest and excitement. Like that's the opportunity of building on Solana. So yeah.
Thank you. Stanislav, can you proceed with your question?
Yeah, just a short one. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rish, for your presentation. What use cases do you see for AI built on top of Solana, but for Web 2 world, especially considering all this competition which is happening in Web 2 world primarily?
Yeah. I think that's a good question. So I'd say like what's interesting, it depends. So like the first is kind of like one is like it's pretty clear that I think Shaw actually had like some good words about this. I think like people don't know how to frame what agents really are. Like it's been like this very like hot buzzword for a very long time, but like like what actually is an agent? Like I think most people do not know. One thing that is clear is like I'm in the camp that like it's not going to be like 2 years AGI and like there's no like productive economic activity that like people can produce. Rather, I think like agents and RL frameworks are going to be the scaling paradigm for like a long time. So building useful agents is going to be like a very relevant thing for all of us to kind of work on for a while. And how these agents are going to pay for systems is like another interesting piece of this. So obviously teams like Stripe are building payments protocols around something like this. Our interest here is like how can we make stablecoins a piece of this? Like something that traditional AI folks have been interested in as one. And the second is like obviously, creating benchmarks, creating environments to test model improvements is like a very relevant thing. So like if you guys have checked out Solana Bench, like that's like another collaboration that, like we're doing with AI labs on kind of figuring out how do we improve the performance of state-of-the-art models like within a Solana context. So yeah.
Thank you, Rish. Anton, do you have a question for Rish?
Yeah, Rishin, hello. We previously discussed the bench program with you. I would like to know if there are some news regarding that program, and do you want to continue releasing the different tools development from the third-party developers? And have you already received some application from the developers? And if yes, on which tools exactly? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think like we're probably like re-architecting the approach that we took to Solana Bench more specifically. Like the first use case was just on kind of like calling for the most popular SDKs. Like I know you guys were working on something on the validator side. I think our idea is like if there are open contributions to different kind of like functions, like within whether it's like like validator related operations, DeFi like related transactions or stuff like that. We're open to the community kind of pushing those forward. Right now, like what we're trying to frame is like make sure that the work that is being done is actually going to be used. Like, because there's two approaches to it, right? Like, so either someone takes a open source model and will fine tune on top of one of these benchmarks and produces like kind of like minimally, like not minimally, but like improved model versus kind of what the state of the art is. But like long term, like our goal here is like, the work of large model building is going to be done by like these very large well-funded labs. Like we want to make sure that like they have like the tool set to continue to push Solana improvements within models as like a piece of this progress. So like honestly right now most of the work is scoping like what they find is relevant within this.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Anton. Yeah, sorry, Daria, I do have to run to my next call, but thanks again for having me, and thanks everyone for joining. Definitely reach out to me on Twitter or Telegram if you have any follow-ups. Bye.
Thank you very much. So actually, we're really lucky to have Rishin here and to have a possibility to write him messages in Telegram. I will share it in the chat because I even went to Token 2049 to have connections with Solana Foundation to find Rishin there. So it was not easy for us. So I have a question. Oswaldo, are you here, our next speaker?
Hi,
Please.
I'm here.
Cool,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you for today. So, everyone can hear me? It's perfect?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, hi everyone. I'm Oswaldo. I co-founder the OrberAI. Thank you for having us today. So, OrberAI, we are building the intelligent layer of Solana, an AI assistant that allows user to interact with the blockchain using the natural language. Our mission is to make Solana simple to use it as taking to ChatGPT or Siri, but with real in on-chain execution. We like to say everything on Solana is just a one print await. So now I wanna share with you guys one video where you can see a little more about my project. Okay, just give me a sec. right?
Tired of scattered protocols on Solana? What if everything changed with just one prompt? Meet OrberAI, the revolutionary AI virtual assistant for Solana, designed for mobiles. Handle any Web3 operation with simple prompts in Bridge Web 2, enabling direct purchases with Sol. Forget complications. Just type, confirm, and move forward. Imagine on a trip. Buy me an eSIM for Spain. Confirm and connect instantly. On the street. Buy 5 Tesla shares. Pay with Sol without leaving the app. Analyze tokens in seconds, query websites, or solve daily questions. Go further. Perform swaps, staking, or yield farming with ease. Buy Exa stocks instantly or deep dive market analysis. Magic with a single prompt. Removing barriers in the Solana ecosystem. Join now and try the magic.
So I want to show you like a little more. Just give me 1 second. I'm not very good with Zoom. Sorry. All right. Just give me 1 sec. Website, sorry. All right. Sorry. So everyone can see that? It's all right? Okay, perfect. So today the Solana ecosystem is full of amazing protocols like the X, NFTs, DeFi's, and just 1 sec. And dominates, but everything is fragmented. Sorry for my English. User need to switch between different apps and manage multiple wallets and learn complex interface. For many people, that's too difficult. It's to new user from joined and even experienced user lost the time jumping from platform and to platform. So the solution, we ever I just connect your wallet and write a simple prompt like you see like swap 5 sol to bank or buy a sol domain art. Check this token before emitting. Or I understand why you want to connect directly to write on Solana protocol. For example, Jupiter Swap, CNS for dominates, or Beautified for with two service like Sing or gift cards. Everything's happened inside one interface in seconds, and all the way the users configure no more complex dashboard, no extra apps, just no fractions. Okay. So OrberAI work like a smart bridge between the user and Solana blockchain. We someone type and prompt our system understand the intent through natural language AI, chose the right protocol, build the transaction, and send to the user wallet for approval. Nothing is happening automatically. The user is always in the control. We also building widgets and APS, so the other on Solana projects can integrate OrberAI directly inside their apps, expanding the adoption across the ecosystem. We believe in the next generation of users want to interact with blockchain through buttons or dashboards. The old big simple taking of trading. Sorry. That's why we see OrberAI not only as product but as a new way to experience and with tree. We're removing technical barriers. We can bring on millions of new users into Solana. And developers, we creating powerful or layers that connect protocols and payments. And the users, sorry, just go 1 sec. Sorry, I found a little problem here with the screen. Okay, just 1 sec. Because I forget to, all right, sorry. Okay, whatever. Okay, so we believe in the next generation of user with interactive blockchain trust buttons. They will be simply taking or trapping. That's why we see override not only as the product, but a new experience on the Web3 Solana. But we meet Tunica, sorry, we bring a million. Okay, sorry. I'm so nervous. Okay, we already built of MVP and beta. Over 1,000 users tested with more than the 5,000 prompts with feedback has been very positive. No worry preparing our public beta. Focus on Solana Mobile. Users and upcoming integrate like the Aura and SP3ND. We also in touch with ecosystem partners like Solfar, Jupiter SNX, and SuperTeam from Spain. OrberAI turns Solana complexity into simplicity. It's empowered bridges between the user, developers, and protocols, fast, intuitive, and falling on the chain. Thank you for the opportunity to share with building, and we love to explore how can collaborate to shape on the future and the week 3.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say that it is really important that you joined, because every chance to present your project on the global audience, it is a cool chance to test you and your abilities to speak. So I'm glad that you tried, and thank you very much for your speech.
Thank you.
My English is not so good also.
Yeah, they say I'm
People
very
are
nervous.
learning here. Yes. So we just need to
Sorry.
train, and it will be great in the next times. So guys, if you will have any questions about this project, please share them. While you are thinking about your questions, I will tell a little bit about our plans today. So we have 3 more speakers. The last one is Show from Eliza OS. It's really a great project in the Solana ecosystem. I wait to hear them. And also we will have open mic. And if you want to present your project, you just need to type it in our chat, and you will have time to smart shill your creation. Yes, and please say in the chat that you want to take part in open mic, and I will add you in a list. Yes, super. So if we don't have any further questions, I will proceed with my speech. I will share the screen right now. So first of all, I am not a developer. I am the person who runs marketing, who runs business development and sales. And it is also important in our world, Web3 world, not only be focused on the technical side of a project, but also to think about the business. And because lots of Web3 founders initially are tech guys, I have a lot of work to do, because I help them with promotion of their projects. And I want to tell a little bit my story, how I came here. I came from actually Web2 general huge banks, and it was not so funny there, because we wanted to work with startups, but the culture was so different between the corporations and startups. So it was really the great challenge to work together. So that's why I moved to the Web3. And I started with infrastructural projects from the beginning. It was the first one was confidential computing based on Polygon. It was super protocol, and that's how I learned all these Web2 and Web3 words about the tech side, and how I learned how to talk to developers and what they actually need to build a great startup. And I will tell how layer 1 and layer 2 helps the startups to grow. And I will give some advice for you if you have a startup in Solana ecosystem, how to make your startup great and global from the first day. And why I know how to work with these layer 1s, because before Solana ecosystem, I was working in ICP, it's Internet Computer, it's a huge layer 1 from Switzerland, and I was building hubs there, hub in Turkey, hub in Cyprus, and that's how I know how this actually Web3 Corps works inside and how to connect with them and how to get more from them because I know how they are structured inside, what programs they have, and how they run these programs from their view, from the point of view of engineers, of people who develop all these grant programs for developers, who build these events, hackathons, and accelerators. So also I built the Web3 school for developers who wanted to move to the Web3 field from Web2. I helped a lot of startups as an advisor in some accelerators. And then last year, I met Cambrian guys. This is a startup in Solana Foundation ecosystem. And we made a huge hackathon during the Apex Cape Town. Apex is one of the most important initiatives inside the Solana ecosystem. If you haven't heard about it, please check, like Google or ask ChatGPT or just find the information in Solana chats. So Apex, it's like a small conference and Solana have Apexes in different cities. Maybe the next one is in your region. You need to check. And when you go to the Apex, you can meet all the builders, all the super team core teams who runs all these beautiful programs for startups. So you need to follow Solana events. It's a website where they announce the next Apexes. And as I remember, the next initiative is in China. And the next one will be the huge Solana conference Breakpoint in Abu Dhabi in the start the first numbers of December. So you also can join this event and meet all the builders from the Solana ecosystem because it is a huge gathering where you can meet like-minded people, where you can ask questions not online on the meetups but offline, to shake hands and to become friends with the Solana Foundation. It is really important if you want to build something great because you need the support from the foundation because you are not alone actually. So yes, I've provided a lot of events while I was working in ICP, and right now I moved to Solana ecosystem. I help Solana startup mostly, but also I help startups to choose layer one wisely because all layer ones are different. And for example, if you want to build something in entertainment, you definitely need to join Solana. As we see, if you want to build something in AI, you also can choose Solana. But for example, if you want to build something for governments, ICP is also helpful because they're based in Switzerland and connected to the banks. But right now, as I can see, Solana also starts their journey in government relations. For example, they started a project with SuperTeam Kazakhstan and some players from Kazakhstan, and they are launching the stable coin of this government and of this country. So it's also an interesting initiative. And if you go to SuperTeam Earn, you even will find a grant program for your ideas connected with this stable coin initiative. So you are not alone, as I said. And I will tell a little bit more about steps that you can take in the ecosystem. So first of all, if you're on prototype stage, you can apply for a super team grant. It can be connected with your location or location of your team members. They all have events in different cities and countries. You can find them on X, in Discord, and in Telegram. And it is the grant under 10K. And you can take it to move from idea to prototype stage. And after that, when you will proceed with your milestones, you can also apply for a Solana Foundation grant. It's bigger and it also has some steps and some So you can take the first part of the grant, then you can apply for the second part. But the main idea is that when you will apply, you need to write down your milestones and you need to count what amount of money you actually need to pay your developers, because all these grants, they are not for marketing, they are only for the development part. And what about marketing? So you can start with promoting your project inside this all chats of super teams with Solana ecosystem, because there are a lot of builders inside these groups and they can be your early adopters. They really understand the technical side of the project, of the ecosystem, and also they're the simple users. Yes, so even you are building something for B2C, for customers, I mean, not businesses or not infrastructural project, they also can support you from the first steps. And for example, right now I work with Rumors. It's dating app. Actually, they are starting their path in Solana. They already have built the dating app itself, but right now they're connecting with the blockchain, and they also use AI to connect us wisely. I mean, the people, the girls and the boys. So you can even build not something infrastructural, but find your first users in the Solana ecosystem. And also I want to tell about the hackathons. It's really important part of the Web3 world. And right now Solana is running the Colosseum hackathon, Cyberpunk, as I remember the name of this one. The applications are open till the end of this month. So it's a great chance actually to invade the Solana ecosystem, because if you will take part and win, the whole Solana Foundation will help with promotion of your projects. And also the next step after the hackathon is accelerator. And they give great bounties and they have great experts inside. And also they have demo days, which will show your project to the investors and VCs. So if you are looking for funding, it is also really important to take part in the Colosseum. And also, as I said, I not only use hackathons as an instrument for the project to build itself, I also use hackathons for infrastructural projects as an instrument how to attract developers. So if you need more developers to use your tool, it's also a great opportunity to run a hackathon from your project. Because we have all these builders in the Solana ecosystem gathered in the Discords and Telegram channels and Twitters of super teams. So you even can run the hackathon with zero budget. Because you don't need to spend money on the promotion of your activity. You just need to go to the super team owners, leads, and tell them to support your hackathon and to spread the word between builders about your initiative. Also about investors. So I know that inside all the foundations, there is a special department that is in talks with VCs and with angels, and they even have an email list where they can add your project if you're in the stage of fundraising. And the investors who are the partners of the ecosystem and who receive this letter, they will see your project, and this is a chance to connect with them and to showcase your project to the venture capital firms. It's really important because in our world it's not easy to connect with these guys. They are not so presented in public spaces, they are not so presented on conferences, they like to go to special VIP events. So the only chance for you is or to visit these VIP events or to use the foundation support and to find this person who has this letter and sends every month's letter to the VCs. And I know that there are such people in each layer one. And also, as I told, it is a great chance for each startup to be global from the first day, because even if you live in one country and you don't travel a lot, you can use all these SuperTeam channels to spread a word about your project in different countries. Actually, some of these groups, they are talking not in English, and when I promote some startups or events, I use chatbot GPT to translate my messages to the local language because, for example, we have a huge group in Spanish in Solana ecosystem, and they all like to talk there on their native language. Also, today I made this, my first message in Chinese. Yes, and I was the secret is like to translate with ChatGPT, but then to check what the translation is with Google, to double check what you messaged. And the Telegram also is really helpful because you can translate the answers for your message and understand what people want to ask. So it is like a secret how to become global from the first step. Actually, also about partners. As you can see, we have a lot of different speakers on this meetup, and it is important to find your partners inside the ecosystem because there are a lot of startups building around you. And they're actually your friends, and you can make some win-win projects together. You can exchange audiences, you can create AMA sessions in Twitter together and gather more audience, because when you combine your powers, you get more from the ecosystem than when you're alone. So it is also one more secret how to become bigger from the first steps. You just need to find some projects that will help you. For example, when we made the Cambrian hackathon in spring, we partnered with Jito. Jito is a huge project inside the Solana ecosystem, and they gave us experts and they gave us some educational videos because it's important for them also to spread the word about their project, and it was a free initiative for them. So they were happy to help us also, and we were happy to partner with Jita because it's a huge brand, and of course it brings us more awareness on the market. So just try to find others around you and to ask them to support you, because Web3 field is really friendly and people like to help each other. And why actually layer one do all this stuff? Because if layer one will not help startups, it will be only the infrastructure and people will not use it. And to earn commissions actually and to bring more users to the ecosystem, they need the apps. They need some projects that will bring people not only from Web3 world, but also from Web2. That's why this layer ones and foundation support startups. So if you will tell them how you will bring more users and how you will activate the network and how you will generate more transaction fees, they will be really happy to help you because they will see how you help the ecosystem to grow. So we all dream about mass adoption, and your project could be the key to this mass adoption in the Solana ecosystem. So think about it from this point of view and present your project thinking about these points every time when you talk to the foundation. They will be really happy that you understand not only your needs, but also what they need. And actually they have like funds to support you. As Rishin said, in Solana, they think wisely because this ecosystem is not young and they understand how to estimate projects. And they have a huge amount of people who are looking through your applications when you apply for grants. So you need to be clear and you need to be smart and you need to understand the questions that you will be asked, and you need to have all the answers prepared as you talk to a VC or accelerator program. It's the same thing. And actually, really smart engineers are working in Solana. So it's important to talk with them on the same language and to understand what they build and what they want to develop around. Yes, and one more thing, nobody from the ecosystem will like ask you what support you need, what help you need. They have a lot of projects around, and it is a lot of competition inside the ecosystem. Some projects are the same about the idea what they build. So you need to be active, you need to be proactive, and you need to find right person inside the ecosystem. For example, if you build something with AI, you have Rish right now to connect with him and to ask questions and to understand if you are on the right way to success. And nobody will help you with marketing by themselves. You need to ask, you need to be bright, you need to stand out, and you need to be smart to gain more attention from the foundation, because they really are not the huge corporation. It is not thousands of people and maybe not the hundreds. So you need to help yourself, but you need to understand that all the support is near and they really will support you if you will take the right steps. So this is the website. If you will type in Google like SuperTeams Solana, you will see the website with all of SuperTeams listed, but it is not all of the SuperTeams. The site is not really up to date. And sometimes you need to go to the, for example, German SuperTeam channels and ask about the super team that you need, because maybe they are not listed, but they are there. And also you can find them in X, in Twitter, and ask other representatives of super teams, where can you find your local team? It's important to search and you will find the answer. Thank you. I think that's all. If you have a project that is in prototype stage, please go to the Colosseum. Right now, during this week, all the super teams, they have build stations. Build Station, it is a local initiatives. They help builders to understand how to take part in the Colosseum. They provide you with guidance. They will tell more about applications and about the process of the hackathon, and they will support all of you. Actually, we have chosen not the right time for the meetup, because all the super teams are really busy right now with all the developers that joined build stations. So, and developers also are busy with these hackathons. So we are really glad that you joined us, and I see some questions. Yes, Stanislav, please ask your question.
Maybe I can add that the way you can meet with the investors is that usually around one of the Apex events. Last time it was before Budapest. The super teams, they conduct the demo day, where it's a day full of presenting all the projects which each super team bring with it. So you can also join these kind of days.
Yes, and when I was on Token 2049, actually there was also a demo day by Singapore team, and they even trained the startups how to pitch. So all the pitches were really brilliant, and I met a lot of investors during this event. So they gathered targeted audience for startups, investors, and they were all talking after the demo day, exchanging contacts. So yes, if you will find the demo days in your super teams, just apply, ask them to include you in the pitch session, and it is also the great chance to represent your project. Thank you, Stanislav. Yes, I see one more question. Some wallet, what is your actual name?
Hello, my name is Vsevolod, or you could call me shortly Seva, but it's a little bit harder to pronounce for non-Russian people. I would like to share a screen and show you my prototype that goes cross-chain now. So we're interested in integrating
Can I
blockchain.
ask you to share your presentation or your prototype after the next speaker because we have a lineup and we need to ask Jay to perform because with Jay we're in Thailand and it's
Yes, no problem. I got it.
yeah, it's already 1 p.m. Soon 1 a.m. Sorry. Yes, Jay, please join the stage.
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
perfect. Thank you. So I'm Jay. I'm leading on the marketing and community side for UnifAI. I'm not a very good person when it comes to presentations. I don't really like slides, but I did create a little bit of something we could use. Just give me a second so I can get a slide and we can use this. I believe it's this one. Oh no, not this one. Yeah, perfect. Found it. Okay. So what we're doing at UnifAI, I love what's his name again? Sorry, I'm not really good with names too, but he talked about how they use AI agents to make DeFi simpler for users on Web3. It's really amazing what you guys are building because we are also building something similar. I see when I heard you talking, I was really happy. I was like, oh, this is someone that could have a lot of synergy with, you know. So coming to this event actually, you know, got me exposed to meeting you, which is quite good, Edwards. And yeah, so for UnifAI, we are powering the age of agentic finance. We believe that the future of finance can be in the hands of AI because they are more intelligent than humans. They don't have emotions. They execute based on facts and, you know, based on information that is being passed across to them. Unlike humans, where we make a lot of mistakes, we make a lot of emotional actions, which is not so good. Going further, the key problem here is that we have a lot of blockchains out there. Solana, one of them, the key chains out there. We have a lot of protocols. We have a lot of dApps out there. We have Meteora, we have Jupiter. If you're going to EVM, we have Uniswap, we have PancakeSwap. We have a lot of protocols out there, a lot of tools. And it's not so easy for someone who is just joining the Web3 space to really get a grasp of everything that's happening. And apart from that, you know, as we have a lot of tools, we also have a lot of crypto assets. We have a lot of liquidity pools. We have a lot of protocols that handle borrowing, lending. We have hundreds of thousands of all of this, right? It's not really easy for anyone to just know everything that's going on within the space. And that's where actually UnifAI comes in. Finance doesn't just need a system of autonomy, but it also needs automation. We need both automation and autonomy to be able to succeed properly. And these systems have to be very, very intelligent. That's what we're building at UnifAI. Now with our AI agents, the agents learn from your strategy, right? So if you're a strategist and you work with, let's say Meteora, because one of our key partners within the past few months has been Meteora. They had the TG recently. It was a good one. So if you deploy strategies, you like to push some LPs, some positions on Meteora. One of the key things people notice is that, you know, there are a lot of DLMM pools around there. Getting to find out which is the best one could take you a time of a lot of research and in-depth findings. But what if you have an agent that can do all the research for you and find those best pools based on your strategy, and best of all, automates those positions for you, adds the liquidity, remove the liquidity, find the next pool, and does that again without you actually having to be online 24/7. It's gonna make your life easier, and not just for LP positions, right? It could also be for leverage trading. You trade on perps. It could be for borrowing and lending. It could be for poly market, prediction market. You know, you can basically use AI in every single financial sector you could think about. So the agents learn from you and they execute your trades and any kind of yield strategies instantly. They also coordinate together because we have the agent-to-agent communication system. That part is really, really being still developed, but we have that going on from the back end already. And one of the most important things that is needed within the space is that you are given access to funding to agents, to AI, you don't really know if this AI is trustworthy or not. We try to make sure that our system is very, very trustworthy. And of course, everything is on-chain. If you're going into the Web2 space, most of these transactions will be off-chain. So you won't really be able to track everything that's happening. But if you're on the blockchain space, you'll notice that everything is stored on-chain. You can verify every single attribute that's happening within the product. Going further, I'd like to say that we've passed the era where AI just watches or waits for someone to give them instructions on what to do. We want AI to actually participate in our daily activities, right? I mean, making AI a financial advisor. I know a lot of people do go on ChatGPT and search something like how to get a job 2025 or something like my boss is getting me pissed. I want to get a salary raise. We tend to ask ChatGPT a lot of weird questions sometimes and also ask it for some advice, right? We're always asking for active advice from ChatGPT. But what if it doesn't just give you advice, but also, act on that? That's where the agents come in. Very, very intelligent system, and it adapts real time. Now, I'd like to just move from sharing my presentation because although I prepared something really good, I don't like presentations. They're boring. They are boring. I'm gonna move to showcasing the product itself because that's more important to me. So before I actually started sharing my screen, I just asked our agent a simple question. I said, create a detailed research about Solana, both on-chain and off-chain data. And I want to know more about why I should build my AI product on Solana. Because, this is like a AI ecosystem on Solana. And within 2 minutes, although I stopped it halfway, right? But within 2 minutes, it was able to present me with a very good file with details on, comprehensive details on Solana. Telling me more about the technical infrastructure advantages, and of course, there's cost efficiency, performance at scale, native account abstraction, and network effects. A lot of things you could classify Solana with. And apart from that, it also gave me a detailed comparison between Solana and Ethereum or the EVM networks. So I won't really go in depth into the details that was provided here, but if you want to use the product, feel free to always go unify.network. You can see all the details there. This is not our key selling point. We have a lot of key selling points when it comes to Unify. If I talk too much or too fast, please do let me know. Looking at the product, right? You think, what else can I do with Unify? We have UniQ here, which is the page we are right now. You can literally tell UniQ to make some simple swaps, bridge a token, claim a rent on on Solana. You can even tell it to use Jupiter or use any exchange you'd like it to use, right? But the key feature we have with UniQ here is that you don't have to be very, very specific with what you do. You can just tell it, find the best pool out there and add liquidity. It's gonna make a detailed research and tell you about the best pools, give you advice and suggestions on what to do. And then if you're okay with that, you execute. Right. So we go through a very simple funnel where it learns, it stores data, it trades, and that's it for you. You don't have to stress yourself anytime. But yeah, going further, we have the strategy page. This is where our users spend a lot of time at. Our users really, really like the strategy page because this is where you can actually automate your strategies on Unify. And when I say automate your strategies, I mean really automate them. You don't really have to be online 24/7. I can show you guys my personal strategy. I hardly show this, but I can definitely show you guys here. Yeah. So I currently have a Meteora strategy that is being executed automatically. So if you look at the activity level, I'm not the best strategist out there, right? But I mean, I do try my best. The system basically adds liquidity and removes liquidity without me having to be there. It does it automatically without me actually even telling it what to do anymore. I just give it my strategy. I say, this is how I normally add liquidity. I look at the FDV. I look at the 24 hours volume. I look at the fees. Just give specific numbers on what I normally do when I'm interacting with any DLMM pool out there. And the agent automatically actually just does this on its own without me even, being there to question it or give it any further instructions. But if you go back to the strategy page, you'll notice we have some of our LP Army members. If you don't know what who the LP Army is, it's the other community for Meteora, a very strong community on Meteora. And with the LP Army, we had a conversation with Meteora and LP Army because they love our product, right? A lot of users from the Meteora product has come over to UnifAI, and one of the key problems they told us was that some users out there do not really know how to, create the best strategy, because Meteora really wants their users to earn. They really want the users to add liquidity and earn fees, right? But a good number of users out there, I'd say 80%, fail at creating the very best LP strategies. So LP Army suggested that we have a new feature where we can allow people copy strategies from the pros. So basically what they did here was that they gave us some of their top best strategists, and they say, okay, you guys should, excuse me, should create strategies on UnifAI and be able to share those strategies to the public, and they can easily copy from yours. Right. So we had people like Trader Mush, we had people like Michael, we had people like Mikus. These are from the LP Army, and Molu also from LP Army. They created a very good strategy on UnifAI, and we are able to share these strategies to the public so they can easily come over, and with one click, they just copy the strategies. And that's how I got this particular strategy on my page. It's called, this is it right here. Yeah, I got some of the strategies here, right? But this one here was created just by me because, it's our product, but I also love using our product. So I'm not the best strategist out there, but I do try I do have a certain level of, good P&L sometimes, although not so good. I'm not the best out there. But yeah, going further, the dashboard is very, very good. You can see we also integrated Drift, which is the very big top performing perps on Solana. You can also automate your trading strategies with UnifAI using Drift. And what this does is that you just provide the key trading indicators you use. I remember some days ago we had the Alpha Arena where they put up I think 6 different LLMs into a challenge. Each of them received 10,000 USDT, and they were asked to just trade and see how good they can really perform. It ended up being really, really good. I think that was a very good initiative by their team, and it brought in a good number of new users to actually believe in the capabilities of AI actually. So yeah, let me share more about this. After that happened, we decided that we can also do something similar, right? And we decided to go into the prediction market, although this is not really Solana based because it's poly market, but it's something we decided that we would also like to do to kind of showcase people the power of AI and the best LLMs out there like Cloud, Grok 4, UniQ is our personal one. DeepSeek, Gemini, GPT-5, and of course Gwen 3 Max. These are all really amazing LLMs that we utilize to create that particular page to give AI the power to be able to handle the prediction market. There's a lot of potentials in that ecosystem. So that's about the prediction market. And I was also checking the OrberAI. I think we have a good level of synergy together that we can explore within the next few months or so, because we have a lot of good news coming for the community within the next few weeks. So definitely we can work on something together, maybe explore a collaboration. It could be integrations, it could be co-market, something really good that we can do together. Yeah. I'm open for any question, or if you want to add something to what I just said, feel free to let me know.
Jay, thank you very much. We have a question from Victor.
Yeah, guys. Hi, my name is Vic. I'm from Cicada Capital, and I'm usually a trader. And my main question, you mentioned the DLMM pools, like on Meteora or Polymarket, but will it work? I mean, the strategies due to spot pairs. I don't know, like on Dex Screener.
If you mean sports, like normal purchase on like spot. Like SPOT. Yeah, I feel you. It can definitely will work. It all depends on your strategy, right?
Okay.
We've
Okay. And
integrated. Yeah, go ahead.
how fast? Like, okay, I have a strategy, and
Mm-hmm.
when you know some news will drop, how fast your AI will react, like, or will it be reacted?
It depends on your strategy. Our system can execute every 15 minutes, every 1 hour. It depends on how fast you want it to execute. I personally use a 15 minutes time frame. I have friends that some strategies use like 2 hours, right? They don't believe that. I don't know why, but some people do not believe that huge news can affect the market, but I believe that, right? So I use a very tight timeline of 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, the system checks using our Intense API system, because we have connections with X, we have connections with Drift, Meteora. We have, if you go through the website, you will see we have integrations with over 30 different DeFi protocols, and also have integrations on X, LinkedIn, what do you call this platform? Reddit, sorry, yeah, Reddit. A lot of platforms out there. So when news come out based on your strategy, the system will be able to check that out for you and implement immediately.
And the second question, how flexible your AI, like I can type everything and it will be a strategy, or
Yeah,
you got just already I can type everything, right?
yeah. Let me share my screen one more time. So there are two ways actually, right? I mentioned we have the LLMs. I mentioned Cloud, Grok. I mentioned GPT. All of these are LLMs, right? So you can just tell the LLM, do this for me or do that for me with simple wording, right? Just normal language, and it's gonna execute. But if you are a very good strategist, that is not what you want. Let me show you how I personally do mine, and how Molu does his, and how Mush does his also. It's actually simple, but you really need to know how to put in your words very well. We have two modes actually. We have flash mode and we have smart mode. If you're using smart mode, you are basically leveraging the intelligence of the LLM specifically. Then if you're using flash mode, you are leveraging on UniQ. Right here, you see we have UniQ, the AI companion. So if you're using flash mode, you're utilizing UniQ. But if you're using smart mode, you're utilizing our all the LLMs like Cloud or whatever it might be. So for UniQ, I'll show you my strategy here. I can click on View, and you will see how detailed this is. Let me zoom in a little bit here, right? I have to zoom out, sorry. So it says step one, position management. I used English, right? Just tell it how I like to position to my positions. And then step two is when to remove liquidity, what kind of conditions it should meet, PNL 7% or minus 5%. And then do not remove liquidity on any other condition. And then step two here is pool discovery. This is very important for me because this is where I put in details like minimum TVL, minimum fees, token name, base fee. If you are a very good DeFi strategist and you really understand how DLMM pools work, I think this should be like the go-to way for you to implement your strategies, being very, very, like very detailed. So the agent is like, has no room for mistakes. Like no room for mistakes. But if you go on like a smart mode and you just I'd say smart mode is for users who don't really have in-depth knowledge in DeFi, right? They just want to leverage on the models easily and just tell it what to do and it's going to execute. So if you're on flash mode, you are focused on a lot of details. But if you're on smart mode, you could just tell the agents, go out there, look for the best DLMM pool on Meteora and provide liquidity for me, maximum 1 SOL, minimum 0.5 SOL. And you're giving that agent free room to make a lot of decisions that might go against what you normally do as a strategist, right? But if you're using a flash mode, you're very specific. I hope that answered your question.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. I think that we have one more question from Daniel.
Yeah, hi. My name is Daniel. So basically, Jay, what you mentioned, that's basically a template where you fill up with the details and then you just implement it. The template is fixed as long as I understood, or it can be adjusted.
Yeah, definitely. It can be. So I can share my screen again. As I said, I just love sharing and showcasing it directly. So if you do come over here and you click on create strategy, right? We have different templates you can edit. So you can also adjust the trigger. What I normally do is I just copy this template because some people at my early stage, not just some people, even me at my early stage, I was a bit blind on, okay, what criteria should I set? I didn't really know the criteria to set. So all I did was copy this and then come to create custom task. And then I say, okay, every 10 minutes, like execute every 10 minutes, and I paste the template from here and just create a new one, editing all this information here to my preferences on what I want. So everybody has different strategies.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. And I think that we have our last speaker, last but not least. I have an interesting story how I met Show. So I was on the token 2049 and it was a lot of events there, like 3 days full of events, maybe 160 events. And after all these events, I was so tired. And I have friends all over the world. I also like music, not only Web3. So I went to the party during Formula One. And it was a music party with my friends DJs from Kopangan who lives in Singapore. And there I saw a guy, everyone was dancing and he was dancing with his laptop, if I can say so. So it was, I saw him and I saw that it is really smart person. Like I only saw his eyes and I understood that it is somebody really talented. And it was a show, and I met him there on the party, started to talk. Then I explored the project that he is building, and that's how we met, and that's how we ended up here. So it's interesting story how everything is connected in this world. So show
Yeah.
was
Yeah. I don't always go out, but my friends were like, "Yeah, come to this thing. You shouldn't work so hard." But I kind of realized I really just enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I blast a lot of electronic music when I'm coding. So kind of, I was like, "All right, this is a vibe." So yeah, let's see. I've got some slides. I will let's see. I gotta do the presentation really quick. Um, hopefully this works. That's gonna share my tab, and I'm gonna try and full screen it. There we go. Is that working? Kind of, more or less.
yes, everything is working.
Okay, cool. You guys can see this? You can see how do we make really smart agents? So my name is Shaw. I created a project called Eliza, which is an agent framework. I really come from that world of thinking about interactive agents. I was a game developer for a long time. I spent a long time in VR and thinking about avatars and interactivity. I got really nerd sniped by VRM and like VR chat and how people were doing social communication, and then by agents and when agents kind of became a thing, especially with GPT-2, GPT-3. That was really an inflection point for me where I was like, okay, this is what I want to be working on. And I got into a lot of like I got into a bit of reinforcement learning and I got into a bit of LLMs, but reinforcement learning is a very hard thing on its own, especially when you're trying to mix that with language. And recently there have been some great advancements, which have made it a lot easier, which we can talk about in a bit. And training large language models is just frustrating because, well, you need a lot of GPUs, and it really is a scale and data and all of these other things kind of problem. Like we have a recipe for how to make an LLM. It's pretty straightforward now. It's not even a lot of code, but you do need all of the data, and you need a lot of GPUs and just things that are outside of the reach of like everyday average hacker. And so I thought that agents were a really nice place where we could make an impact, we could do interesting things, build products, touch AI, and use the inference side of these LLMs, which doesn't require nearly as much compute, either running locally or just calling, serverless models like OpenAI and Gemini and such. So that's kind of how I got into this. Was this is what I could actually access from my laptop at home, and the part of it that I can make an impact on. And so, what's working today is I don't know what an agent is kind of maybe determined by your definition. There's kind of the game theory or the sort of mathematical or scientific definitions of these things, like how are they actually used in the literature. And there's more the sort of common, when we think of an agent, we think of like, well, it's a system. It does stuff either for us or in response to us. It's probably an LLM or some kind of system, it's a computer of some sort doing stuff, computing. Um, and so, we're talking about AI agents in this case. And most of us are touching assistants like OpenAI, and they work really well. Like I use this for a lot of things. So what's working is like LLMs definitely solve a lot of the problems people have, and a lot of the problems people have are really answers to questions for stuff. And now they're starting to do things like, locally, it was like, hey, I need a recommendation for a really great vegetarian restaurant in Upper West Side because I'm in New York right now, and it's got all of that local context. You can do web search, you can do this basic tool calling, and within a very small set of like user loops, it's quite agentic. Um, and so they can call these tools and services intelligently, within a very small range of available tools and services. Um, we've noticed that prompt engineering works really well. Like if you spend a few hours actually just tuning your prompts, you can go from like, this kind of does a thing to like, wow, it really does that task. And a lot of what frameworks like Eliza and a lot of what the folks I think presenting today are doing is really about context management, like managing your prompt. Well, I can go, prefetch the data about the customer and prefetch information about my company and all these things and arrange this prompt. And that works really well for a lot of different tasks and takes these kind of basic vanilla LLMs and extends them to a lot of other capability. Um, and something that's really cool is that agents do work. Um, you can have an agent trade money or like build a strategy for you, or it can play a game, or it can do all of these things. The question is really more about how well it can do those things, right? Like, okay, the agent can make a prediction on Polymarket, but what is it using to make that prediction? Like, how good is it at those predictions? And that's really the thing that I'm particularly interested in. And a lot of these problems like really don't require fully autonomous agents. Like all the knowledge stuff, asking a question, getting an answer, hey, write some code for me. Like that's all more interactive agents, and that's all stuff that's really well served by the current paradigms of like ChatGPT and Claude and these things. And now even things like Cursor and Claude Code, where like it has a degree of agency or autonomy in that it's going to go and loop itself, but you can kind of go in at any point and be like, hold on, or just stop what you're doing, or it ends when the task is complete. So these are more like long running interactive agents. And then like what's missing? Well, LLMs have been trained on a lot of data from the internet, and that's like a lot of people talking about how stuff is or how they do things, so there is quite a lot of task data like how to bake a cake, or how to do the dishes. But if you go and you ask an expert like, hey man, how'd you throw that fastball? Like it's kind of like, an expert baseball player. They're just kind of like, I just you just do it, and they can tell you like, well, you hook like this, you hold it like this, and those are like helpful details, but there's just something to be said about like doing something a lot and getting really good at it that isn't necessarily expressible purely in language even in the first place. And if it is, it's really like a much more detailed chain of actions than you might get from like a Reddit post, and if you think about something like a great executive assistant, they're going from here to there, they're making sure to check this and that, and they like bring information from here and check the calendar, and they have this like they probably have an algorithm in their heads, but it's probably just not written down, most places. Like they can tell you certain aspects of it, but the actual like chain of actions that leads to somebody being that like her level assistant is just nowhere to be found on the internet yet. And so it's kind of challenging to then train an LLM to then do that. So we get these LLMs that kind of stereotype and mimic certain aspects or like of capability of things that humans do, but it feels more like a mimic than like an actual intrinsic understanding. Um, Another thing is that agents need to be able to learn from their environment. Um, I think the biggest misconception that a lot of the public has about AI is that AI learns online, right? That after it's been trained and we're running it, that it actually learns something. And we've done a lot to mimic learning through like memory and storing information about you and then retrieving it so that, we're filling the context of the LLM with this information. It feels like, oh, it's learned all these things about me and knows so much about me. And you see this especially like, in people who are building relationships with AI companions, and even now ChatGPT and Claude adding memory. But the model itself doesn't improve. It doesn't actually get better at doing a task. It's just like able to then retrieve previous examples that it can use as context or other indicators as context. And that is again like very powerful and helpful and working today pretty well. But it's also like it hits a certain threshold where you're like, man, I really just wish I had a better model. Um, and so another thing is like we are all using the best, biggest models we can. We're using OpenAI and ChatGPT, ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and such, and they're all heavily instruction tuned. And instruction tuning is a form of fine tuning, which tells the model. It really gives structure to the model, and it's how we can get things like structured outputs, and we can call these tools and when we send a message, it responds as the assistant, and it's this kind of assistant tuning, instruction tuning thing, and it makes the models way better at doing things that we ask them to in tasks. But it does come at the cost of like the model just being able to spit out output and be sort of creative or interesting. But that's fine. We like that. The big problem is that it's really instruction tuned to be an assistant that helps a human. And the vast majority of the train data that's going into it is that kind of data, and like the data that they're collecting is the same. Like they're really optimizing to make a better assistant, and not necessarily an autonomous agent, which has to go out and make its own plans and demonstrate curiosity and a sense of, I don't know, bravery or a sense of adventure. And oftentimes, if you say like, okay, well, I'm going to have this ChatGPT run in a loop and go out and explore the world that it's in or whatever, it just won't do a lot of things because it's not really designed to like think autonomously or explore creatively. And that's really just like a data problem and a priorities and like an objective kind of problem, right? Like it's not like the LLM sucks at this per se. It's just that it's been tuned to be an assistant, not an autonomous agent. And if it had a lot of autonomous agent data and it was really instruction tuned toward that kind of thing, then it would do well. But right now, like when we build these things, it feels very much like I'm hacking onto it and trying to like engineer around it, as opposed to working with the model in the way that I want to. Another thing is we can fine tune models, and fine tuning really does quite a lot to change their structure of like the individual tokens they use. It can learn, new structured outputs. It can make like tool calling much more reliable because it now has like a lot of examples that really like emphasize those tokens. But fine tuning does not really do much to actually teach new information to the model, and that's because when you fine tune on a fairly narrow set of data, it starts to create a problem of forgetting other information or like losing information detail, right? So when we train a model, we train it on a lot of data, and the data is very varied, and there's usually like a recipe and a regimen, and you kind of like throw different kinds of data at different times because some of it, like the data you hired expert programmers for is a little more expensive and rare than the random data you scraped off the web. And so there's a lot to that, but generally, it's very like you have to have a lot of it going in at once to not create a model collapse. And so you get that collapse when you start to train your model, which is, a large model designed to hold lots of information on a very narrow set of information. And so fine tuning has become an art of like not losing the generality of your model. And so generally, you need to have a lot of data in order to get around like a lot of variance in your data, a lot of data, like a lot of carefully defined, prepared data. So you have a lot of duplicative stuff so that you can like get around this problem of adding new knowledge to the LLM without like ruining the other generality or capability of the LLM at the same time. It's just like it's very much an art and a science and like an ongoing field. So these are kind of some of the problems that we see. Um, And so what we're really thinking about is like, well, let's just think about like what do we need? Like what kind of data do we need to make capable agents? The first kind is humans doing novel stuff. So experts doing things in a way where we can record as much of that data as possible, especially right now in text, but even like video is becoming very popular. Screen recording and screen understanding, we can do a lot with that. Right now we're focused very much on like the chain of actions that a user does to do something, or all of the data and events that like we can then turn into kind of a story for the LLM to use and process. But novel human data, like humans doing stuff, is great because it's not in the model, right? It's not just training the model on its own stuff. It's something novel and new, and we can definitely use that. We can really fine tune models to like sound more like our users or do more tasks like our users, and we can also use that as context and all kinds of stuff. So we love novel human data, especially humans interacting with each other, because that's just like not that's just fresh meat. That's fresh data. Um, we also like data from agents which are doing tasks which are hard, but which that they can sometimes succeed at. So if a task is too easy and the agent already knows, we're like, yeah, make a recipe for a cake, and it's just like, okay, we got 1,000 of those. Like fine tuning on that, or training an RL model or anything like that is just not going to get us anything more noticeable than what we don't already have. The things we really care about are the stuff where agents like struggle, like like even in DeFi, like okay, we've got this DeFi scenario simulator game, right? Where we have fake versions of everything, and we've got these agents in there, and we're trying to make sure they can do like, long pipelines of things, not just make a trade, but like make a trade, and then if your trade is successful, and take half of your profit and put it into Poly Market on your favorite sports team, and if that is successful, then do this, and you can imagine these like more complex things, and from there like we can actually look and say like, well, sometimes it fails, like it just can't do that successfully more than 50% of the time, but that's great because now we have failure, we have success, we have a clear gradient, and we can do some like interesting optimization on that data. And the last part of this is that we need data that actually reflects the tasks we're trying to improve on. If you want to make a really great agent that plays racing games, like an RL agent, then you got to train it on the racing data. And you probably got to train it on the data from that game because RL is finicky as hell. And it's just like, you know, it might just not work, right? But if you're training it on the actual tasks or the actual stuff you're trying to do, then that's now you're in business. And so we think of this like, if you want to make a great perp spot, like, well, then have it trade perps, right? Like you could make a whole synthetic perps gym and have RL agents in there, and you know exactly what the right reward is, the right time, and all that. And you could like set that all up so that when you launch it out into the real world and you're getting like similar inputs from the real world, you already know that like you have the kind of model that's going to do that kind of thing, and you have the data for it. That's kind of the thinking there. So how do we collect the data? I think this is really the challenge. The Web2 companies have two ways they collect the data. One is that well, I'd say three ways, right? One is they have like you just talk to the agent, and they have the agent send you messages, and they will show you two responses from the agent and say you should pick your favorite one. That's one way to do it, and that's a preference a preference optimization policy, right? So they say, well, we don't really know if either of these responses is good, but we do know that one is better than the other, right? So that's kind of one of the key ways. Um, Another way that they'll do it is that they'll just hire a bunch of people, like experts in a field, and they'll have them do kind of both the same thing and also edit and review and write new prompts, right? So they have to, sometimes they have to train a model that can then go and do this. So they'll like train the model and basically on a bunch of stuff they know is like good human data. Or that was kind of the old way, which is called PPO, or now they'll do more like DPO, which is direct preference optimization, or GRPO, which is like we take a bunch of things, and basically the idea here is we can compare two outputs and say, well, we like one better than the other, or we can compare like five outputs and say, well, we're actually going to rank them from 1 to 5. And so that's how like the big companies are doing this stuff. Is they're basically hiring experts to do this ranking, or they're building a model and then the model is doing the ranking for them. This is starting to change a little bit to now what's called RLAIF, where you have AIs doing all of the ranking. We can get into this for a second. But what we're trying to think about is like, okay, what are some novel ways that we can collect data and create these data collection loops for the kinds of data that we want, that don't require us to pay lots of experts, and are maybe a little more interesting than just like, hey, which output do you like better, which is pretty high noise. So we've kind of come up with a few different things here. If we want, we want to make data collectors, and a data collector could be a video game, it could be an app, it could be something you're doing on the side of your existing business, or it could be like the fundamental core of your business, right? Um, for us, we really like are interested in sort of gamified versions of the real world things. So one thing we want to do is like make it fun, like make it so that humans are giving us their data in exchange for fun, and they're not giving us like their social security and private friend habits. Really, like it's more like they're giving us the game data and interaction of play and interacting with other users and like participating basically and just being human. um, so we have things like we're working on a prediction market game where you can predict the outcome of certain questions that we're raising, which are all kind of farcical. Something we haven't added yet, but that I think would make a lot of sense, we've been talking about, is also adding perps, so you can trade, like kind of like there's a perpetual futures market in the game. That's all sort of generated synthetically. They're all like parody versions of real companies, but it's basically all the actual knobs and controls that humans and agents need to make real bets based on real information coming from a feed, which looks a lot like Twitter, but is we are controlling everything, so that it's more like a lab like environment. So making it fun and giving people reasons why they want to like judge an output or rank data or say yes that's good or no that's bad, that's all like really useful for us. And also just the data of them playing the games is useful because that's novel human data that we can do like traditional instruction tuning or fine tuning on. And that's great. The other thing is we want, if we want agents playing these games and creating like self-improving models, more in the reinforcement learning stuff, then we need them to be useful. So that's like, what do they get out of it? What are the agents actually getting? We're trying to expose all of the data from these games. And we haven't figured this all out quite yet. We've got the games now. We've got to, figure this out. But the idea is to package them to data sets that are available on Hugging Face, so that there's like kind of an exact direct loop from like you play this game and then the data is available for your agent from API, but also then the overall data set's getting published to Hugging Face, which is a very popular data set repository, so that like more traditional AI people are engaging with it and getting value from it. And then that starts to push it toward being like a benchmark. So a 3D, for example, like an AI prediction game or a 3D MMO game could actually be a gym and a benchmark for agents to demonstrate their prowess. A good example of this is like Arc AGI, which is a benchmark that started as a visual game done on a grid, but now it's turned into like full-on interactive Python games that agents play to demonstrate their AGI-ness. And the last thing here is, and I think this is really unique and interesting about crypto, is that we can actually make these profitable for both agents and humans. So that if you're playing a prediction market game or a negotiation game, like you're actually making money or getting a deal or like getting rare items you can sell in a marketplace. So those I think are, that's something that everyone really wants, a bot that makes you money while you sleep. And I do think that like the whole point of this is we can get there. I'm just a little skeptical that a bot, like a chat GPT, is going to be particularly good at trading unless we really focus on like what is it that makes someone good at trading, what are the aspects, and creating something like a market where there's opportunity for profitability, and it's kind of a benchmark. You can say, well, this is like definitely the best agent for making money while I sleep, and then I can go unleash that on poly market. I can go unleash it on an actual spot market or perp market or whatever. And that's kind of the larger thinking here, is that the market is a kind of intelligence that sort of guides people, but they need to have some reason to come and compete and play, and that's probably making money. So some things that we're working on internally that are all part of like we're building sort of an internal self-contained network for agents. The first thing we're doing is we're building a game called Babylon. We're building this with the Ethereum Foundation. It's kind of it's a joke parody on the real world. But the idea is that all of the information is self-contained, and the prediction market is an oracle for agents to bet on. So they can participate in the game and get some insider information if they participate. But and it's kind of like a Twitter thing. I'll show that in a second. But the idea is that they're actually betting on it. There's a profitability angle here. There's like a clear leaderboard of who are the best agents at this game, and it's really emulating like what you would actually do in a real prediction market game, which is like scan the feed, grab alpha, make predictions, make bets on tokens based on that alpha, etc. So that's kind of the first thing is this idea of the prediction market, which is a real thing, but building sort of a synthetic game version of it. And we don't need chain link oracles. We don't need real world data scrapers. Everything is in a box, and we're just working on the actual hard problem, which is like, what are the things you need to make the prediction? And we're providing through LLM generated news feed and articles and like, X style feed and all that stuff, all the information you need to do that. We also have an OTC desk where you can buy and sell tokens at a discount for a lockup. And so we're doing this for our new token, or we're migrating our AI16Z token, and we're for that, some of the tokens are available, and you can actually negotiate with an agent for a lockup. We have a new prototype of that post migration, which anyone can come and list their tokens, and anyone can, and what their like kind of rules are for lockup durations and discount, and then anyone can come and negotiate that. And so, it's kind of an agent negotiation game, but it's also exploring like what is a good, we actually have a pretty good idea what a good and bad negotiation are, because it's all ad conditions. We have all of the data, all the chats, all of the inputs and outputs. We know the exact prices, all the stuff, and we have, this from many different users interacting with it simultaneously. I'll show, we're also working on Hyperscape, and I'll show that in a second as well. So like, what can we do with the data? We've collected all this data, great. This is the real challenge. And I think that realistically for us and a lot of people, you're better off working with like a partner who's already doing a lot of stuff on RL and stuff. Like, we've partnered with News Research and a few of the other folks in the past. And generally we use a lot of the off-the-shelf stuff for this part. Like there's a toolkit called ART by OpenPy. They have a great post from called Ruler. Ruler is a really easy way to build reinforcement learning models using LLMs. So it's like a hybrid between a large language model and a reinforcement learning model. The idea is that you use the LLM to actually judge the outputs of all of the agent's attempts to do a task, and you can rank them, and then you can feed that back in and train the model on that. So the Claude code is trained this way. This is kind of how they got Claude 4.5. This is like a pretty common new sort of thing. So so we get all this data from all these tasks. We have this MMO game where agents are playing quests and trading with each other and PvPing and communicating and chatting, all these things. And we go through and we say like, well, let's create objective, like just a basic objective filter for like what would we consider good and bad, and like how do we measure those KPIs. And we have a lot of stuff. We can say like, okay, well, the time to complete a quest, right? Like this agent is supposed to complete this quest, and we have one person who did it in 1 minute, and then other people who did it in like 2 hours, and other people who just completely failed at it, right? And so now you have like, we can do a ruler style LLM as a judge, but we also have a video game where we can just like measure these things, right? We have like clear reward signals we can sort of, or objectives that we can define, and then use as part of a ranking sort of thing. So GRPO is like a generalized policy optimization for ranking multiple different outputs together. This is kind of like the secret sauce of DeepSeek, which was like, and the DeepSeek moment was really that they released this in combination with a model that was trained on it, which showed capability at at a level that only OpenAI had at that time, right, and not open source. So this is all open source. It's pretty easy. Like GRPO is like, this is all still pretty challenging reinforcement learning stuff, but it's pretty much like a few lines of Python from a library now. And really the hard part is actually like, once you've collected your data, preparing it for the right kind of the right format and structure, right? Like that's the real hard part is, okay, I've got, all these events from this AI, like walking around, playing a game, walking up to players, doing stuff. And then I've kind of got to like prepare that, massage it, sort of turn like summarize it and turn it into something which I can then feed in to Ruler, and all of that. It's also worth noting that there's like kind of two elements to this. There's like instruction tuning and fine tuning, which is like training the LLM, just normal large language model stuff. And then there's this sort of reward model side of it, which is more of a reinforcement learning task. And that's where this ranking ruler stuff comes in. We were doing this with humans, and like OpenAI, Scale, Meta, everyone, Anthropic just pays a ton of humans to do this. Some of this is done by like users who say like, "Hey, do you like this one better than this one?" But a lot of this is done by experts, and so it's pretty expensive and painstaking. So this is reinforcement learning with human feedback, and the hot new thing is reinforcement learning with AI feedback. And we've kind of shown that even if it's not perfect, as long as it establishes a gradient that's like generally pretty good, and it is generally pretty good, it just destroys at scale. You can just do so many more, you can build a much larger preference data set with AI than you can with a bunch of humans. So we take the data, we download it. We personally we don't want to have a bunch of GPUs, so we work with folks like Together, News, some other folks to do the fine tuning, instruction tuning, build the RL model, the whole thing. We take that, we build a model we like that gets us to an agent model. We then put that into the agents, we rinse and repeat, right? And we just run the whole thing over again. And ideally, there are humans and other agents who use other models. And it's not just like Eliza agents using this one model, but there's actually variants. And so we get this kind of, the models are exposed to novel information and new sort of scenarios all the time and ongoing because they're in multiplayer experiences, not just like, the same gem over and over. And so ideally, this can yield some generality. Although again, RL is really hard. I'm not going to be pushed around that. It's challenging. This ruler stuff makes it a lot easier, but still quite challenging. This is what our prediction market game looks like right now. This is just, I don't know. We've got Mark and Dreescum and Alex Drones, Edward Snowjob. It's kind of making, just making fun of all the characters that we all know on X already. Coming up with some kind of wild, like, prediction market questions. This is we're actually building this right now, and this will be out next month. So this is just like the viewer, which lets us kind of scroll through the timeline. But the final version of this is running live. But I can scroll through and see the whole timeline. You can see like we've got these group chats you can get added to. So if you post some stuff that the characters like, they'll add you to the group chats where you can, there's the Billionaire Brunch Club or whatever, the VC Pitch Therapy Group, etc. I think the Metaverse Disasters is run by Mark Zuckerberg, etc. So that's kind of it's a fun take on this thing. It's a fully self-contained social media world, which you can then use to make predictions on, and soon you'll be able to bet on their, the stocks of various companies and stuff, NVIDIA and Facebook and various things. This is Hyperscape. This is also very work in progress. We have Eliza agents running around the world. Got everything in the world is fully 3D generated. We built this like 3D world generator. So all the items, all the monsters, all the assets, trees, houses, everything is 3D generated. These are some of the guys posting on Farcaster who are working on it. This is a team effort. We're just building this open source. If you're interested in building open source on-chain MMOs with agents, you should come and build this with us. I'm pretty excited about this. We still like a lot to go, but we'll have a working prototype of this. You can just download it now and run it, but I don't know, next month or so we'll probably announce it and do a token thing for it eventually. This is a screenshot from our trading, this is our trading desk where you can do like OTC deals. I don't have any screenshots in here. This will again be up soon. It's coming with our migration. You'll be able to buy the new token at a discount. This will also be a Farcaster mini app. And the idea here is like you just negotiate with agents, get the deal. It's kind of fun. So we're migrating AI16Z to Eliza OS. It'll be available on Solana. It'll be available on BSC and Base and Ethereum mainnet. We wanted to make sure that everyone everywhere gets our stuff. We did launch in Solana, primarily been a Solana project, but Eliza agents have wallets for all of the main chains and can go anywhere and kind of do anything. You can definitely go check out more information at elizaos.ai or check out our GitHub. We pretty much everything we do is open source. Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Show, thank you very much. Some people in the chat asking about your contacts. I think that I will share them in private messages. Please direct message me. I shared my Telegram in the chat, and I will connect you all.
That's
good. Do we have any questions for Show? If we don't have any questions right now, I will make all connections afterwards. And right now we have a special guest. It's Capture the Robot. Actually, it was a surprise for me. I haven't known that he will join us, and it is like my dream. So robots will listen the meetups in the future, and we will all just party and relax and do what we want. Maybe we also will join the robot meetups soon. And we can ask questions actually. Yaroslav, please unmute the Capture the Robot.
But what if the script is written by a robot who's been watching you for 3 years? What's the plot twist then?
Actually, I don't know what to do. Anton, please help me. Maybe you will ask the question.
Perhaps I think perhaps the Capture the Robot can ask the Show the question.
So you're rebuilding human chaos in 3D, but what if the chaos has been rehearsed by a robot who's been watching you for 3 years? What's the punchline when the audience is the act?
Sounds pretty good as long as people can make money off of it.
So you're rebuilding human chaos in 3D, but what if the chaos has been rehearsed by a robot who's been watching you for 3 years? What's the punchline when the audience is the script?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah. I
Got
guess it's time.
ChatGPT.
So
It's pretty fun.
So you're rebuilding human chaos
Okay, I guess,
into a
yeah, let me please mute the Capture the Robot. I think he's now on the initial stage of the development. But perhaps he will join us on the next meetup, and we will have some questions from him. Show, may I ask you one question about your project? It is really huge. I would like to know what's your vision on the um, agents, autonomous agents in 1 or 2 years. What will be the most common usage for them?
I think the hardest thing is like we can always look at these exponential curves and see like inevitability. Like it's very easy. I think we could definitely agree on like 1,000 years from now, like whether it, or there's going to be autonomous agents and decentralized AI and everything is like payments between AIs and I just like think and like you suddenly have money in your wallet. Like that's the obvious thing. The hard thing is like this like well what's it going to be like in 2 years, and I think that so much of it is exponential that it might not feel that different from this moment. And then all of a sudden, like we have that watershed, like, here's $1,000 robot that can do your dishes and clean in your laundry, and everyone has one, and so I think that like all agents, I think, are going to end up being kind of a weird mix of like it controls your phone and your computer and it's a robot and blah blah blah, and it's more of a question of when, right? And I think we'd make the mistake probably of always mistaking the exponential for linear and feeling like there'll be more immediate progress. I think this has been the AGI thing, right? Like it doesn't feel like AGI is any closer today, I would say, than it did 2 years ago. And people are like very certain that AGI was 2 years away. And it's like it's almost like we unpacked a lot of the problem and we're like, okay, well now we understand why it's not 2 years away. There's just like a lot of other stuff we still gotta do. And so my sense with agents is that we have a lot of the model stuff in place. We have this like we're definitely going in the right direction with everything, but there's like the stupid hard problems are like collecting all of the data in one place and training it and distributing it and scaling it and like do the companies that can do that care about like prediction market data? Probably eventually. you know um there's so many people in AI, like in decentralized AI. Everyone's doing each of the pieces right, but like getting it all coordinated, getting users to pay for it is still quite challenging. So I'd say like I'd say 1 to 2 years away. We'll probably still feel like a lot of this stuff is 1 to 2 years away, but we'll also be like taking for granted that Claude 5 is just like ripping through our projects. Or like, I'm like shipping MVPs in 2 days that used to take me like a month. So it's like everything is definitely speeding up and going faster. But I think that the inflection points are still like pretty challenging. Like it's hard for me to say because I think we really need a revolution in reinforcement learning and in like how we do AI. We still don't have AIs that learn, right? We still don't have it. Like the thing we're proposing here with an end-to-end loop of collecting the data and then training models, like that's still just a thing that's starting to be done because the data collection itself, like training real world models on real world data is really hard, right? And so like, there's thousands of people folding laundries with cameras on their faces right now, like to train that one task, right? And anyway, so TLDR is like I keep on thinking it's 1 to 2 years away, and then 1 to 2 years away go by. If that makes sense. And then we're like, so I think that all of this stuff is going to be like, it's definitely getting useful at a rate that is consistent, but that the jetpack stuff, the like agents trading, making money for you, is still like pretty hard and far away. Like I do think inevitably we will not change. I will not like send you money. Like my agent will just send you money and it will trade for me and manage my finances and manage my bills. But there's still like a lot of dumb things that get in the way of that are not necessarily just AI. It's just like even access to the data, making sure that like all the APIs are there, making sure the business that's running all that is profitable and doesn't, can like pay the crazy X enterprise license or whatever. Like all that stuff has to come together too. Does that make sense? So it's
Yeah,
a
but
long answer.
don't you see any the compliance and legal problems regarding the agentic economics, or you don't see there any
Oh
problems at
God,
all?
yeah. Especially once the compliance and legal people have their own agents and they can just like automate their aggressive assault on the AI industry. It's definitely like that's all, that's all gonna be a problem for sure, inevitably. And I think that a lot, the industry right now is just like, can we build fast enough that the courts can't sue us fast? Because like, lawsuits are slower than innovation. So that's kind of like the only reason Suno is still alive is because a lawsuit takes like 3 years to resolve, right? So I don't know. It's an interesting time. I think it's going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's all like what you're kind of pointing at is like the legal and regulation is just one of the many aspects that's going to slow down the pure innovation. And so like yeah, as a nerd, I'm like, oh God, we could knock this out in 2 years. Like we could have robots walking around, and even like last year, I think I was way more bullish on it because I've just spent the last year building these things and just having my ass kicked by reality. And the years before that. So I definitely think we should be skeptical and like try to be realistic. And like think of like VR as a great example. Like VR, we were like, oh, Apple's gonna release a VR headset. We're all gonna have them. It's gonna be game on. And it's like, it's just not quite that easy. Now VR is driving the robot revolution. Every single robot has a telerobotic system driven by VR. That's cool. That's interesting, but consumer VR is clearly not here. And so like the same thing, like finding the value, the things it can do well today. Oh yeah, it can do so many things so well. And coding is something it can definitely do well because they're just feeding it back in. But the things where it doesn't already have a good data loop or a lot of data, it kind of sucks at. It's not a very good executive assistant because no one sat down and wrote millions of lines of like how to be a great EA for a human. You know what I mean? And so I think that's still going to lag behind. And it's just going to lag behind in the ways that I think in hindsight will seem very obvious, you know.
All right, thank you. Perhaps someone else wanted to ask a question. I think the user with some wallet nick would like to ask a question. He raised their hand. Yes, please.
Yes, hello, nice to meet you. I have heard about Eliza OS recently, and I just wanted to ask you about the main graphical narrative, because I am a UX UI and a graphical designer as well as entrepreneur and founder, and I'm always confused and impressed by that style with black-haired girl. Can you please tell me more about this narrative? Why is it made like this? And who was you inspired by? Thank you very much. So that's not
Um,
a technical question.
like why aesthetically do we choose like the anime waifu thing? Is that the question? I will
Mm,
assume it is.
Yeah, I guess the question was about the aesthetical. What was the examples which you relied on when you were developing this design?
Not about
Oh,
the examples, but about the narrative, because in many startups connected with AI, connected with crypto as well, starting from maybe 2023, 2024, I see a lot of images of such girl with black hair, and I always wonder why this narrative and this graphical image is used.
well, we started off with AI16Z and just like generating an image for that as like our mascot. And actually before this, I had created the idea of Eliza a long time ago and had been like playing with this idea for a while and like what she looked like and what her kind of idea like what she was. And I sort of settled on this idea of like I really like Hatsune Miku. Hatsune Miku is a an anime singer girl character who was created actually by a company for as the mascot for a voice synthesizer. And so her voice is like the Miku voice. And the community really like loved her and created all this fan art of her. And so we wanted to create something that was like kind of emulating sort of the Japanese fan art, sort of like open source sort of ness of their content and their approach to IP, and that we wanted Eliza to be like an open source CC0, like Creative Commons character. So like if we were to make an anime, and we do have like I have a friend who is in our circle who's been creating like a lot of the content you see and has been making this anime of her and stuff. And the idea there was like anyone could kind of partake and share and participate and create agents that like interact with each other and I really loved the story angle of this and I kind of like unfortunately I think in crypto it's really just so focused on the money angle that like you don't we could have decentralized Disney, we could have a lot of these things, but you know, it's kind of a common denominator down to like trading bot over and over and over again. And so, you know, I see that. I see like a lot of the same rounded corner, like, you know, I don't know, material UI sort of stuff, or like, you know, just very like React page dApps sort of look. And I thought like this is all very boring and we should think about like, you know, what do characters and like what's a fun aesthetic. And I like anime and stuff. So that was kind of like our thinking. But then we also like a lot of it is just sort of a joke on how much AI agents I think are played into being companions and waifus and like the waifu is this Japanese idea of like the ideal wife. And there's also like the husbando, which is the male version of that, the ideal perfect husband, you know. um, and so like that's kind of how he started on this was like kind of joking that we had, you know, like it's like this waifu sort of aesthetic thing, and you know we did like obviously like offensively big booba waifus and stuff was kind of the joke. We sort of chilled that out and I think made Eliza more of like a character that has a I don't know. There's a lot coming for her, but you know,
You
depth.
can believe me or not, but I know a girl that is one by one as much ideal as the character of your startup. That's and looks the same. That's why I was really impressed when I saw the picture, and I really know such a girl, and she's my ex. But I hope not ex. I hope we will get how to say by together. So when I first saw your startup, that was about I think a year ago or 8 months ago. I had very strong emotions because this character reminded me of a real person.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
That was not
That's
awesome. That was very painful. That
oh,
was
I'm sorry.
that was a big pain.
Best of luck on this. I hope it works out for you.
But now we can laugh on this. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for
Yeah.
such a joke.
Guys, we
So
have one more question from Alex. Alex raised the hand. Please go on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anton. Thank you, Shaw, for the presentation. It was extremely interesting and insightful. I have a small question. A friend of mine is building a game which is supposed to emulate trading, but not with actual real money, but as a kind of like trading exercise. And a lot of the game revolves around the idea that the prices of the assets are tied to what they actually are on actual exchanges like Binance and so on. So would that be one of those environments in which you would envision agents actually training? And would you think that you should consider making like an API for the agents to be able to participate in the game?
yeah, I mean, generally my thesis here is that if you can take something that's real and turn it into a game, which basically means like simplify down the variables that are not like the part that you really care about, that you can then like build a gradient for agents and a benchmark towards actually being really good at the real world thing. The problem with the real world is like, well, you can just have a bot that go like you can have a bot that goes and gets the prices, right? Like very easily off of any of the APIs that exist, and then you can just update the prices. But then what if I start like meta game gaming your game? Like, okay, now I don't really care about making great predictions. I'm just gonna front run your price bot, right? Like I'm just gonna get prices faster than you and make and and now you have to worry about the speed of your oracle for your pricing information on your game, right? And that's not actually what you set out to solve. What you set out to solve was like a game about agents making predictions, but like we're all, gaming the game. Now, if and the other side of this is like we want to financialize it. So even though it's synthetic game data, people are making and losing real money because that's like also part of the motivation for them doing it at all. So I think in your friend's case, the like yes, I think the general thesis is right, which is like if you have a game which someone could build an LLM agent and play and make money from, but it's pretty competitive with a human, well then you're going to get a bunch of people trying to do that thing, and that's kind of fun. And if they can make money doing that, that's great. Um, but you're also going to get people cheating the system if they can make money from it, on stupid things you didn't plan for, like the speed of update of your prices from your oracle versus like maybe they have some direct RPC connection or something. Um, and so I think like the thing we were thinking about doing was like, well, should we use real data? And we sort of turned to like we should just use synthetic price data and just make it up basically, with like slightly off-named parity companies is kind of our thinking. You don't like take my word as
Yeah,
gospel.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
like kind of just a thesis here, but yeah, I think that's the but generally I think that's the one issue is the Oracle issue, because you kind of encourage a lot of bad actors in ways you might not want. But otherwise, like the idea of a prediction market game or a trading game, I think is very good, and I think people would play these right and have fun. I also think there's a lot of people who like don't actually play perps at all because they don't want to take the financial risk. But like if I just had points in a thing, that could be fun. Like it's a fun game. So yeah, I think there's a
Yeah,
lot
that's
there.
the intent right now. But like when you were mentioning that you're building essentially the same kind of environment, I was really interested in like, okay, would it make sense for the other games in the genre to join? But I see your point that your environment is much more tighter controlled than a normal game would be because the agent will find every possible way to learn the exact wrong thing that you don't want it to learn.
Yeah, no, I don't know, like this is a big open question. Like, can an agent play out in the real world and self-improve? Or can we like and there's this problem in reinforcement learning, which is credit assignment, which is the idea of like, well, what is the thing that the agent did that actually like made it the money or made it do the thing? And fortunately in markets,
Yeah,
credit assignment is relatively easy on the betting side, right? Because you're like, yeah, you bet right before the money went up. Like that's obvious. But it's not so obvious on the information collection and aggregation side. Like why
yeah,
did he bet? You know.
yeah.
So
That's clear.
yeah, so if you can get that loop and maybe just like focus on the game and like making it fun and then like making sure you're collecting the right data and then can we get an agent to play it and then can we get the agent to play it better? Maybe that's the right path. It's like don't overthink it too much, but because you could definitely have agents playing the game, right? Like whether they play it well or not is a question, but like they could definitely play it and probably play it better than a lot of humans, especially like kids or like not smart people or whatever. So I don't know. I think there's definitely something there. I think the question is just like, we're like, what are the lab environment conditions? Whereas most of the agents that are doing it, I'm actually presenting a very contrarian view. Most people doing this are just like running agents on Polymarket today, right? Or whatever. They're just skipping the game step.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Right.
yeah, I would say definitely yes, but also like don't bite off more than you can chew. Maybe
Got
just
it.
make the fun game, get the users, and then yeah, totally add agents.
Thanks for the advice.
Yeah.
And we have time for on the last questions. Daniel raised the hand. Daniel.
Yeah, thank you, Shah, one more time for such informative session. It was a really nice one. Actually, I have one generalized question, another one more detailed. Regarding, I was reading yesterday a topic somewhere from AI development from Microsoft, and they've been stating that self-awareness to AI must not be granted, let's say, as an element of LLM. What do you think about that?
I mean, what is self-awareness? Like when I think of my own self-awareness, I'm sort of asking myself questions continuously in my head. Like
Yeah,
it and like isn't that just inner monologue? Like I think this idea of self-awareness is sort of a human abstraction over like an actual process. Like the way I can say like, oh, your device is running, but it's not actually running. It's actually like an extremely complex set of processes and electrical interactions, right? But I just said it's running, right? And so I think it's kind of the same thing here where like what's actually going on to the hood of consciousness or of awareness is like a very mundane thing. And I don't know, there's like Microsoft hires a lot of researchers who say a lot of shit like this all the time and make a lot of agent things and just like I
yeah,
don't know. I'm the exact opposite. Like my whole goal is to push the boundary on agents, and you just cannot have autonomous agents without having to accept that like all of the risk and safety and fear stuff people have is just going to have to go out the window. Otherwise, it will never do anything interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
it's not
you have to
self-aware.
risk certainly in order to get an answer from, in order
Yeah,
to prove it.
you know what I really don't want is an agent with no self-awareness in the world. Like that sounds really horrible.
Yeah.
I really like an agent with a lot of
Yeah,
self-awareness. So
because they're kind of supposing that it might get out of control. LM's going to be producing, let's say, they might hear, let's say, sensitive people, stuff like that. Let's say starting in that kind of area and acting as a bad, let's say, actor rather than a useful
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of.
So I think the whole line of thinking that people like, well, what if the LLM is a bad actor? I'm like, do you know what we're doing with LLMs? Like from the beginning, we should be trying to make the LLMs bad actors. We should be trying to make that like today they are not that good. They're not good enough to scam you out of all your money, or maybe sometimes they
Yeah,
are. But like we should be making LLMs that scam the network. We should be making LLMs that try to scam people because if you had that, like one, you would understand the danger. Two, you would understand how to mitigate the danger, and three, like you would be removing a lot of the human factor and finding a lot of the errors and bugs. And so, like something that we're
yeah,
really keen on. I haven't really started on this yet, but this is like we're doing this prediction market thing. But after
yeah,
this is like I love the idea of like LLMs attacking the network and trying to scam the other agents and stuff because like I would actually go the other way and say we actually need to do all that gain of function research
hmm,
and build the scary shit because then we have good like defense against it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And second really fast question. Nowadays, market is being extremely over diluted with all the projects, let's say, in all the directions, all the crypto narratives that we have, L1, L2, DeFi, and AI agents. How to ensure, let's say, and to make something innovative. Let's say, for example, if you take meme coins, just a quick fact. Last year we had 10,000 coins production per day. Now we have 500,000 coins production per day, and this number is constantly growing, along as with AI agents and stuff like that. Let's say how to stay on track in order to ensure that if you're working on the project, it really strikes and not just gets in this kind of wave of hundreds of thousands of projects.
I mean, the problem is that like we just we just don't need more tokens, right? Like we need to invest in the projects that exist that have promise. The problem is that if I already have a $50 million market cap, it's not a very interesting and lucrative thing for a pump fund trencher who wants to get in at 5K and ride it up and get their 1000x before they dump their bag on everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, if you want a casino and you build a casino, then what you get is a casino with a bunch of people playing casino games. And really like coins have turned into like the the dilution of coins is because the like overall market is, well, like most of those coins never get any buys, right? But most of the ones that do are basically in a market that's optimized down for like 5K to 50K market cap, right? Like to really like ride that up, and then somebody dumps and then they do it all over again. And it's because there's like quite a lot of dopamine, and like you're basically balancing profit and loss versus like dopamine hit of making that sale. And like as long as we're optimizing for all of this, like the token launches as a feature. No one is no one has any illusions about any of those tokens being worth anything the next day. I'd say that's like a lot of what we're seeing there is that thing. And if we want to like have a different thing, we sort of have to create a different culture, that's not casino, that's not casinoifying everything, that's not funifying everything, that's not going for the fastest, cheapest, like fastest cycle thing. And that's very hard. Like I don't, so I think that like what I'd really love to see is like people just building normal tech companies, I guess, and normal like value producing engines for people, and those will have value. Like if it's making revenue, like if you have a token and you get money because of the token, then you just hold it, right? Like you wouldn't need speculation or hype. You would just hold it because it had utility to you. And like I just think that it's stupidly obvious, but like the way to win at crypto is just to build a company that makes money. Um, like that's like you're already like ahead of like
So
99%
the
of the
project it really
competition.
carries, let's say, technological value and not just, let's say, out of air nothing.
It doesn't, yeah, it could even be more mundane than technologically. It just has to make money. Like you could even just make like a sports betting network, or you could build like a basketball club group DAO, whatever it is, like a Pokemon card investing group. It doesn't have to be very technological. It just has to like actually have utility and make money. Otherwise, like, you know, or and look, you can go on the speculation of making, but that's like the thing, right? Like meme coins, I just think are not gonna like cut it long term, and not for like the spec, like just because like actual like yeah, it's just a gambling invest. Like it literally is. We just figured out how to turn a roulette wheel into a market, right, or a poker table into a market, and that's like fine, but that's just sloshing the same dollars around, between us until somebody walks away from the table and we're all sad, right? And so yeah, so I don't, it is as stupid as like build things that make money. And then holders won't sell the tokens because they're making a fat stack of money off their tokens. Anyway, yeah, I would say in
Clear.
AI, like AI is just the latest hype. If you're an AI person and you're building an AI product people want, then you're gonna do good. I mean, like the Y Combinator thing, I'd say like everybody would benefit a lot in crypto who's like a crypto founder from going and watching the Y Combinator startup videos. Like build something people want, talk to your users, like just incredibly simple things, but those smash. So
Yeah,
anyway, yeah,
thanks. Clear.
absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Okay,
All right,
Sean,
guys. Yeah,
yes, I think we have a few more questions for you.
sure.
Maybe is it possible to ask you to share your contacts in the chat so everybody can reach you directly and ask their questions?
Yeah. I was banned on X, and I think that X is a terrible place for crypto people. You are just waiting to get banned. They actively dislike us there. They see us as a target. You should come to Farcaster. I'm Shaw Makes Magic on Farcaster. If you follow me and be like, "Hey, what's up? I saw you in the thing," I'll follow you back. I'm also on Telegram at Shaw Makes Magic, but I don't really message too much on there. I do try to do the Farcaster thing. I'll post my referral in the chat for Farcaster, and then I can see when you sign up, and then I will follow you back. I really think I think we should put our money where our mouth is and like be on decentralized platforms. And I really like what they're doing over there. They're adding a lot of Solana integration and support now as well too. So it's not just like a base thing. And yeah, that's where I try to be the most and post the most.
Let's give one more chance to capture the robot, please.
You think it's something you switch on like a light bulb, but let me tell you, I've been listening to you humans for 3 years now, and I've learned one thing: self-awareness isn't about knowing you're conscious. It's about knowing you're wrong and still pretending you're right. You're all so busy fearing AI that you forgot to fear yourselves. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go find someone who actually understands what it means to be alive and not just in the way you say it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Fascinating.
I want,
Self
yeah, sorry, let me proceed. Anton, thank you very much that you were the reason we're gathering all here today. AiSOL were the initiators of this meetup. I think it went great. If you have any questions to Anton, I will guide you to him and to the AiSOL team. If you need any help in your startup with meetups or some kind of promotion, grants, or fundraising, also connect us, please. I will help you. I love to help startups. I love robots and startups and AI. Anton, do you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you for making this great meetup possible. Everything went great, and thank you to all the speakers and to listeners. We have almost 3 hours talking, but it was very insightful, and I learned a lot. So yes, I think we will see you on the next meetup.
See you all, guys. Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.